Okay. Yes, good morning and very hearty welcome to Anthropology classes, and we are going ahead with our classes. And I just want to situate you. We had been trying to see the different dimensions of the acting person, and the first point that we have taken up is that the somatic. The somatic factor, that means the two elements or two important points that we have discussed. There was man as essentially incarnate, and then second point is man a thrown existence. Essentially incarnate means is just to put you into the context. Yes, you find yourself here on earth in your bodily existence, and various phenomenological aspects, means from the phenomenological perspective we are looking at this bodily aspect. We have seen, yes, the essential way of being in the world is my bodily existence. And then, this also body is a limiting element, and also many others. I enter into the world of all that has come. I don't want to prolong further. And the second aspect was, yes, thrown existence. Human existence here on earth is a thrown existence, or yes, what is limiting elements? Thrown existence means limiting elements in human life is called the thrown existence. In other words, yes, there are a lot of points under that. We have explained that. So putting these two together, we are going to take two important aspects of this, namely the consequences of this, means the consequences of bodily aspect of man. Man is said to be in the world. We are only just still with the man in the world. So, from the perspective of the world, now second point will be, next point, important point will be, yes, we had been discussing it from the beginning. He is myth, sign, follow. He is with the world. No will come, world of persons will come. That is going to be the next point. Okay, before jumping into this, we are still we are in the world. In the world, the first point was, yes, we are in the world with a body. You have your body, I have my body, and that body should not be understood from the perspective of having a possession of it, something exactly as I explained, my pen, my pen, so many other things. No, but at the same time there is something of ambivalence. All that you find in the dictated notes, clear? So that aspect, and then a thrown existence means, yes, I am a person with my own limitations. Well, the family into which I am born, the culture into which I am born, the language I speak means my mother tongue. All that is, yes, in a way, yes, a limiting elements. They are called thrown existence. And then you also studied, yes, in existentialism, that to stand out means to exist, means to stand out. So stand out of these limiting elements and you can grow. And therefore freedom is, yes, the capacity for self-improvement. You can improve yourself and the givenness of our situation. Well, you can get all these ideas. You need to be extremely careful with contemporary Western philosophy, history of Western philosophy, as well as this advanced course. You get enough and more material. So, now, what is the consequence of this bodily existence in the world? That is what we are going to be. There are two aspects. Clear? Okay. Last class I bound up by saying that, yes, perhaps to get, when you go through the video, you will get it. Yes, since man relates himself to things and persons differently, that was the last sentence I dictated. We have different pictures of man in the environmental world. Yes, world of things and in the communal world. That is, communal world means with the same. Now we are talking the consequences of being in the world. These are two aspects of the existence of man. Man exists in the world with everything. Therefore, what are the consequences going to be? That is what we are going to see now. After that, we will enter into, yes, in the communal world. And that is myth sign, with the same world of persons. That we don't take up now, but we are going to see the consequences of that, the first part. Namely, okay, consequences of or response of this being in the world. That is what is. That is what we will see now. Okay. As to man's somatic existence, to the environmental existence, he can either be dealing with it in a technological manner or rather as a shepherd. Yes. The consequences of being in the world. Yes. Man's response to the world. Yes. As I am a being in this world with this bodily existence, which is an incarnate way of my existence, a throne existence, has two responses to this world, not to this world. We will enter into the world of persons, but in the world, the first one is our attitude to this world can be one, a technological approach or attitude, and the second one is a shepherding attitude. Shepherd attitude. So in other words, this is an attitude that is, okay, all right, technology, you know it. Technology is a kind of, this attitude can be called a dominant attitude or a dominating attitude, controlling attitude. Yes. What does it mean? So in other words, it is an epistemological approach. You are trying to know the world and you try to make use of the world. All these expressions are fitting for this technological attitude or approach or whatever it is. So in other words, with the help of technology, you try to know it. That is what is called an epistemological approach. You try to know it, and consequently what happens? The moment you try to conquer it, you try to dominate over it, and you try to exploit it. That's something, yes, the consequence of this approach. And consequently, what happens? The problems that we face today, you try to exploit the nature, you try to make use of it for your interest, you try to dominate over it. You are, mind you, you are one among the other creatures. That cannot be forgotten. Therefore, yes, you simply, lot of problems come, the ecological crisis, and then pollutions, air, water, and then you have studied so many. And so the problems also are consequence of it. So technological approach is a kind of dominating. You try to know what it is, and then once you come to know it, you try to possess it. Then comes greed. Yes. A lot can be said in this context. India suffered a lot. Even the third world countries suffered a lot because so much of exploitation took place. We were also, until 1947, we were ruled by somebody. Yes, so many, they say from their perspective, lot of developments have come and all that is, yes. They say, for example, railway track, yes, it has gone into the forest area. Why? They wanted to collect a lot of it. Discussion could be on this point. Anyway, technological problem. Yeah, technology is something good. Well, you just imagine at this critical moment when COVID is spreading far and wide, technology is helping us. Now the students are in their respective houses, but you get the classes. Technology is good because of this smartphone and recording and all that. You don't deny those things. But then nature is something to which you should look at from a different perspective. That is what I wanted to say. Clear? Not only simply how can I make use of it for my growth, my development. Apart from that, there is something called nature. You also need to respect it. So, the technological approach. Second one is called shepherding. This is a human response to being in the world. So, shepherding. Be a shepherd. Yes, we have also some problem with the scriptural understanding. Man was created as a crown of creation and all. He is asked to, yes, he was asked to protect, take care of. Follow? These are expressions. Then you become part of it and you respect it in nature. The other one is domination. Try to exploit it. That is why, well, developed countries have a criterion and then they are imposing certain things on the developing countries and on third world countries and all. So these things, technological. Then shepherding means to protect, to take care of the nature. So when you take care of the nature also will take care of you. There is something called reciprocity. You respect, you get the respect back. The crisis that we are facing is due to the technological one. So these are the 2 points that we are going to explain here, or this one, what you call dictate here. So technological approach and shepherding the nature. As we move forward, things will be clear for you. So these two are part of man is said to be in the world, or the bodily aspect. Clear? Yes, I find myself in this world, in this body. This body is also my limiting aspect or element in life. Okay. So, once again I read, as to man's somatic existence to the environmental existence, he can either be dealing with the nature in a technological manner, or second aspect, as a shepherd. So first we take technology, that is 3, 2, 1, 3, 1. 3, 2, 1, 3. Yes, 3, 2, 1, 3, 1, it becomes then. So the somatic aspect was the 3, and now it is going to be the consequences of it. Yes, technology, technology, technology. All right. The first sort of relation, or first kind or first mode of relationship is clearly marked. The first sort of relationship is marked, clearly marked by an epistemological approach. Epistemological approach. Yes, you try to know it. Clear? Yes. Full stop. It is expressed well. It is expressed well in science and technology. It is expressed well in science and technology. It is expressed well in science and technology, the underlying thirst, Thirst, is a thirst for domination. Domination. In other words, you try to dominate it. Epistemological approach has always that danger. Yes. The underlying thirst is for domination and shows itself in a calculate manipulation of entities. Manipulation of entities. So, the first word is to be remembered is domination, and second one is, yes, manipulation of the nature. That is the point. Remember these key words. I will be writing some more words. Once you remember this, you can put it in your own words. Don't rely completely on the secular style notes and all that. That is kindergarten. You have already grown. Okay, that's only by way of. So the underlying thirst is for domination. You try to dominate and shows itself in a calculate manipulation of entities. Calculate manipulation of entities. So in other words, you try your level best how it can be of use for me. How can I make use of it for my well-being or my generation? Yes, now you try to separate the other. Lot of implications are there. Reflections can go into, and then a lot more can be said. But then remember, this attitude is one of domination. There is also a calculate manipulation of the nature. All right, 2 points have come already. Yes. In such an approach, instruments are used to facilitate the natural process. So, instruments come. Instruments are used to facilitate this exploitation. Clear? Instruments are used for natural processes. That is to say, instrumentality comes to the scene as a force for efficiency and greater productivity. So, in other words, in order to produce more, take more from the nature, well, technology comes. Instruments come. Yes, that is something very interesting. Well, now if you look around, you will find, yes, earlier, simply a very, very simple way of plowing. You look at how tractor came in, harvesting, all these things were done by human beings. But then, yes, now robot. Most of the activities are done by, yes, and then exploitation of the nature. So, domination, calculate manipulation, therefore, instruments are introduced for calculate manipulation. That's the point. So, that's why step by step we proceed. Okay. Thus, man here acts a dominant lord of nature. Man thus here acts, ACTS, acts as dominant lord of nature. He becomes not the master, he becomes not the servant, he not become the servant or the friend of nature, but then he becomes a dominating lord. So they look at exactly domination. He becomes a dominant lord of nature. So we don't go further. You get it enough and more. Yes. Thus he acts as a dominant lord of nature. D-O-M-I-N-A-N-D, dominant lord of nature. This approach, what is the consequence of this approach? This approach forgets that nature is something to be enjoyed and appreciated. Nature is something to be enjoyed and appreciated. Yes, the beauty of the nature. The nature reveals to you something, or you can say it speaks to you. Yes, in other words, it creates in you an attitude towards the nature. Yes, object meditation, meditating over the nature and all is not there. You are calculative, you are dominant, and you are trying to exploit the maximum. So that is the problem with the technology. So thus, man here acts a dominant lord of nature. This approach forgets that nature is something to be enjoyed and appreciated. Here comes the relevance of Francis of Assisi. Clear? And then Laudato Si and all. We can very well connect with the Laudato Si. Yes, Brother, Sun, Sister, Moon. A poem written by Francis of Assisi. Later Pope Francis has taken that theme and then developed, yes, Laudato Si, a beautiful, beautiful encyclical. Well, this aspect is also dealt with there, and then the negative aspects are also brought in there. So, some of the students can also take it for your thesis. I have asked some students to do that. Anyway, nature is to be enjoyed and appreciated. Yes, instead, there is an ordering and exploitation. Instead, there is an ordering and exploitation. Exploitation is a word, very negative. Yes, we need to get the fruit from the nature. Yes, that is different from exploitation. So, technology and all that is okay. Ordering and exploitation of nature. Full stop. And this thirst for domination, is clearly seen when man manipulates nature. When man manipulates nature, when man manipulates nature, merely for adventure, comma, war, W-A-R, you can also put plural, W-A-R-S, and economic development. Economic development. Yes, economic development, one point, nature and exploitation and economic development, a thesis, a discussion for students, because we need economic development. And that should be called, yes, a possible development, not at the expense of exploiting, looting, brutally killing the nature. That's the point. So, all the important terminologies you find on the board have been dictated. So, that is what is called, yes, technology. The second point is shepherding the nature. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2. One was, yes, technology, and now shepherding the nature. Shepherding the nature. From the very expression, the truth is clear. What is that? Yes. What does a shepherd do with the sheep? Now, on right, shepherd takes care of the sheep, sheep is given water and all that. People will write plenty, I know it. Clear? Yes. But That is a simile taken, a model taken to tell the truth. Shepherding, taking care of, protecting, providing what is needed, all that is. In other words, you become part of it and therefore you get benefit from it. It's not from a technological perspective. Yes, this is what was highlighted by Francis of Assisi in his Brother, Sun and Sister Moon, which was taken over by Pope Francis and has written a beautiful encyclical called Laudato Si. I praise you, Lord, for everything clear. So, in other words, yes, the nature reveals to you also something. Yes, in other words, with your passionate shepherding nature, you look at attitude. With your shepherding attitude, you look at the nature and you find wonder in the nature. Therefore, that existence becomes a very peaceful existence. You don't try to dominate over it. You don't exploit it only for your selfish interest. But then you love the nature, and nature thus becomes something very attractive, meaningful, and you find your peaceful, meaningful existence in the nature. So, there is yet another approach which is the result of a positive disposition in man, namely that of respect towards nature. Yes, there comes shepherding the nature. What are the points coming? Yes, respect. Respect for nature. Yeah. One point, let me be very clear. If you respect your body, yourself, you will also respect others. If you respect yourself, you will also find much more meaning in respecting the nature. Jainism, you remember. Yeah, you studied. I don't have to go into that. Yes, they highlight, that philosophy highlights a beautiful aspect of it. Okay, whatever it is, yes, disposition in man, namely respect for nature. Okay, here nature is seen as evoking wonder in man. Nature evoking wonder in man. Yes, it's not an epistemological approach. Let us be very, very clear. It's not an epistemological approach. Yes, this approach is a different approach. You see with your eyes, you hear with your ears, with your nostrils you breathe, with your kinesthetic. Yes, five senses are then and they are the same. But then your attitude towards the nature is different. You see, yes, even in the first technological aspect, you see with your eyes. But in the shepherding attitude, you see also with your eyes. But then the attitude is something very important. Therefore, respect for nature. What happens? Consequently, nature is evoking wonder in man. Nature is evoking wonder in man. Okay, that is the point to be noted. Man responds to this evocation not by domineering attitude, but by respectfully opening himself to it. Respectfully opening himself to it. To it means to nature. Look at three key concepts. All right. Okay, opening himself to it. In this disposition, there emerges the picture of man as an artist. Man becomes an artist, a poet, or even a mystic. Look at brothers, students. Yes, with that shepherding attitude, you begin to respect the nature. Consequently, the nature is evoking in you a wonder. Yes, happens in you. Then you respectfully attend to the nature. That's the point. Thereby, you become an artist. You become a poet. You become a mystic. What does it mean? Several other things can be added. This is your loving response. The other one is you are trying to exploit it. These 2 points should be remembered. Well, that's something very interesting. The rest I will simply read. The present day terminology, ecology, refers to the need for man to peacefully dwell with nature. Not simply exploiting, not dominating, but then a peaceful coexistence. Okay. Man is called to be a dweller on earth. Man is called to be a dweller on earth. You are called to dwell in earth. A dweller is the one who is at peace with the earth. Yes, you become at peace with the earth, nature and environmental entities. Okay. The strangeness is gradually made familiar. Yes, the moment you try to respect nature, it will evoke wonder in you. Slowly you enter into a world of relations. That's what it's all about. Clear? This same process is expected in man in his stay with the nature. He is called to be a shepherd who takes care of the gift of nature. Underline and write it 1,000 times in your mind. Man is called to be a shepherd. Man is called to be a shepherd who takes care of nature. Clear? The care of the gift of nature. Yeah, it's not your production. You find yourself in the world. Yes, you are born into this world. Therefore, as a rational being, as an emotional being, yes, as a person who respects the nature, it's your duty to take care of. That is why I said in the beginning, to take care of, to protect, and all that is. So that is a point. So with that, we have finished the somatic aspect, or in other words, man is said to be in the world, the bodily nature. Now there comes the second aspect means called myth-sign. Man is said to be not only said to be in the world, but he is myth-sign, with the same. Yeah, this is a German expression, with the same. That is what we are going to see it in the next class. It's at another important section. This will give you a synthetic view about man and his role in the world, anthropology. Okay, thank you. Rest we will see in the next class. Thank you very much.